Jitsu wa Watashi wa, or as the English translation is right now, it is actually I am. That is the title, just so you know. Just to reiterate, actually I am. It's a very strange title. I don't really get what it is supposed to embody for the anime. I really don't know, because actually I am. I refer to Shirogami. It might refer to her, but I don't really know if that is what it's supposed to refer to. And because the big secret is revealed at the pretty much towards the end of the first episode, I'll just go ahead and say that the reason why I'm doing this on Halloween is because this anime has a whole bunch of supernatural occurrences. What do I mean by this? Well, for example, the main girl, who is the best girl, by the way, the main girl, Shirogami, is a vampire. And then there's a few other girls throughout the anime that you find out, oh yeah, they have supernatural, there's something supernatural about them. I'm not going to say what specifically, but I will say that a couple of them is definitely Halloween related. And it's pretty cool to see that I've been trying to decide what anime to review next, and then it just so happens that it's Halloween today, and tonight there's going to be a whole bunch of spooky stuff going on. So I figured, hey, why not do the anime that came out in summer 2015 that dealt with supernatural beings like vampires. Enough of that. You're here to figure out if you want to watch this anime or not. For those of you who don't know what Jitsu wa Watashi wa is, I will go ahead and give you the synopsis. The romantic comedy centers around Asahi Kuramine, who has a crush on a cute girl named Yoko Shirogami. Shirogami just happens to be a vampire. Asahi cannot keep a secret, but he is determined to keep Shirogami's secret anyways. Yeah, if you can't tell already, Kuramine is a leaky basket, as his friends call him. And they spend the entire first episode kind of portraying him as a leaky basket. And what a leaky basket means, if you don't get it already by now, is that he cannot hold a secret for the life of him, even if the entire world depended on it. And there's a case that actually happens like that. Even if the entire world depends on it, he can't, for the life of him, keep the secret. And I will say right now, this is probably one of the funniest anime I have ever come across. I don't know what was it about it. Maybe it was just the chemistry between everybody, the dynamicness of the characters, but just I think I've come very close to death just by laughing throughout this anime, especially towards like the middle portion, because the middle is just kind of where most of the comedy is. Like the beginning and the end are more like story driven. I mean, not to say that the entire anime is not story driven. It's just that you know that there's more story going on, and towards the end, towards the beginning of the entire series. And then there's like a few episodes in between the beginning and the end that were just pure comedy, was there to give you a laugh. And for me, comedy's a hit or miss in anime, because if it doesn't make you laugh, then to you it's just a waste of time. It is just an absolute waste of time. But if you do like the comedy, then that anime is just gold. And in this case, this anime was just gold in the comical standpoint. The genres for Jitsu wa Watashi wa is comedy, fantasy, romance, school, and shonen. I don't get where the shonen comes from. But then again, that's just me having my stereotypical idea of shonen, like Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Bleach, those are shonen. So like me thinking of those, I can't really correspond that to Jitsu wa Watashi wa. However, it's romance, which means that you might be thinking to yourself, oh, does something actually happen? I'm not going to do any spoilers, but I will say that it happens, but it doesn't happen. Part of the problem with me answering that is because at the end of the anime, you might end up going to the manga, because this is a series that was adapted from a manga series. You might go over to the manga and you might read that. In which case, I'm almost positive that something actually does really, really, not just, yeah, you can kinda, it's implied that things are going up now. No, like, full on, boom, boom, it is just confirmed, ship has sailed, and everything. That would be in the manga. In the anime, they didn't go that far. You're able to say that your ship is ready to sail, if you know what that metaphor means. If you don't know what that means, then I mean that they set it up to the point where it's like, okay, yeah, a relationship is going to ensue pretty quick here, one way or the other. Before I go any further into the manga, let me just finish up what I really wanted to say quickly about Jitsu wa Watashi wa. First and foremost thing is that it's just so utterly, ridiculously hilarious. Oh my god. This one and Monster Musume made me laugh the hardest for the summer of 2015 season. They made me laugh the hardest. And I feel like it's been a long time since I've actually laughed like that. Because it was just pure comedy in my opinion. It was very funny. And it's just, I remember I had to pause, catch a breath, and then continue in the episode for both cases, but especially for Jitsu wa Watashi wa. It was almost every single episode that was trying to be funny and aimed to be comical relief episode. That was like, there's like 4 or 5 episodes like that, and it's just like, oh my god, I want to live, but I'm gonna die from laughing. I remember reading somewhere, I think it was on Kiss Anime, like a chat, or so, like in a chat discussion or something. I remember somebody in there saying, when I was looking around trying to find what I wanted to watch for the summer, I saw like a comment that was, just paraphrasing it off the top of my head, it was saying like, all the girls are like basically best girls, so hard to choose from them. And at the time, I was just like, I wonder if it is going to be that hard. For me personally, there's 2 girls that I thought were really, really exceptional, really, really awesome. But then there's a couple other girls that somebody might like, somebody just so happens to like. And dude, oh my god, you got literally all of the stereotypes. This is one of the other reasons why this anime was so funny. It had all the cliche character types. Yeah. Oh man. You've got the girl that doesn't understand love. You've got the girl that is dense as fuck. Like, holy fuck. She is so dense. You got the childhood friend. You got the friend of the girl that the guy likes, aka Shitagami. And the friend happens to be a dude. And then you have a adult lolly. I remember seeing somewhere, there was like some kind of a picture. I might dig it up and try and find it and give it to you guys right here. And if not, then okay. But I remember seeing like this one little picture that was doing like had classifications of lollies. There was like type 1, type 2, type 3, and then I think type 4. I think type 4 was, yeah, type 4 would be what a adult lolly is. Super rare. You almost never see it, but when you see it, it's so good. It's so funny. And then there was like type 3B and type 3A, and then so on and so forth. Like type 1 was an actual lolly. Type 2 was like prepubescent, but still looked like a lolly. And then type 3A was like teenager, like a teenager that looked like a lolly. And then type 3B was like almost adult, but still a teenager and looks like a lolly. And had assets, if you know what I mean. So one of the reasons why it was so difficult to decide which girl was best girl is because all of the girls have such dynamic, realistic, reactive personalities. And they're also retroactive personalities. What do I mean by that? It feels like they don't just respond to stuff. And when they do respond to stuff, it's totally realistic in the sense of their personalities. It's very reasonable how they react. And I know I suck balls at trying to describe what I mean by how good a character is. But just bear with me, okay? Just bear with me. Like, the characters, I believe, can be real. And they're just extremely dynamic. If this was my group of friends in high school, if this had been my group of friends in high school, I would have been so, happy. Not to say that I hated my group of friends in high school, but this group just... I don't want to say that I would trade the group of friends that I had for this group of friends from Jitsu Watashi, but I would actually trade the friends that I had in high school with the group of friends in Jitsu Watashi. I'm just saying, because these guys are so funny. They do stuff that just makes me think, oh my god, every day at this school would be so awesome. It would just be so funny, so lively to just be around them. Remember when I said that there was a whole bunch of cliches and how those character types, cliches? This whole anime was so cliche. It was just, if you can't appreciate an anime purposefully being cliche, if you can't appreciate it, don't watch this anime. It's cliche galore. And if you don't like cliches, the comedy is just not going to be there for you. And like I said, comedy's a hit or miss. If it's a miss, you just think it's a whole waste of your time. But if it is a hit, then you enjoy the entire experience of the anime. But it's just, I'm not going to go too much into the cliche-ness of this anime, because just character types is a pretty good example of the cliche-ness. But some of the comedy is kind of cliche as well. Some of it is is very cliche. So what would I say is the selling points of this anime? There's a few selling points that really, if you really wanted just a summarized, broken down version of what I wanted to say, this would probably be it right here. Of what I have said so far, this would be it right here. And I've kind of brought it up before, but the story of this anime is not lost. It's not lost in the comedy. There's a few episodes where it's purely comedy, but you can tell that the story is still kind of there. It's just kind of a backdrop for the comedy to ensue. And I liked the story. The natural progression of introducing the new characters coming in, and then the new group of friends becoming what it is at the end of the anime. And I really appreciated the pacing. The pacing was very nice, and I appreciated the character development, and I just appreciated all of that. The second thing that comes to mind in terms of a selling point, a factor that may determine whether or not you want to watch this anime, is the comedy. Like I've said before, the comedy is a hit or miss, and just to reiterate one more time, if it is a miss, then it's a waste of time. But if it's a hit, then it's a very enjoyable experience to be watching that anime. And what kind of comedy is it? Well, for one, it's romantic. It's romantic comedy. And it's kind of a double-edged sword there, because there's not really any romance. I mean, there's enough romance to make you think, oh shit, yeah, this is romance right here. But they use the romance more to play on to the comedy, at least for the anime. I can't speak for the manga. I haven't read it. But for the anime, the humor is romantic comedy, and it's also cliche. I can't think off the top of my head what kind of cliche I'm talking about, but I also can't say any of the jokes because some of them are an entire episode. Just an entire episode alone on the cliche joke. And there were 2 episodes in mind right now that were very just, it wasn't even just cliche, it was mocking the cliche. That was kind of why I laughed so hard at those episodes. But just without spoiling anything, the cliches are actually kind of like tropes that you see in anime. They're kind of like tropes that they're mocking. And in one episode specifically, they're basically having a contest about something. And it's 2 girls having a contest against each other. And it just, I mean, at first you're thinking, okay, yeah, this is the usual trope. But then it just goes way left field. Oh my god, it goes so left field. Like, holy fuck. It goes way left field. Oh my god. There's another episode that comes to mind too for the comedic cliche tropes thing and making fun of them. Another episode that comes to mind is, I think, actually a little bit later. Yeah, and it's actually, I'm thinking, the episode that I'm thinking also just so happens to be the other episode that I was thinking. Because there's 2 tropes in the exact same episode that they just tackle, and it's so fucking hilarious. It's so funny. Like, seriously, like, if you can't find yourself laughing within the first 3 episodes, or 4 episodes, it's somewhere in there where I actually had my first laugh. And if you can't find yourself laughing, even the slightest bit, you're not even chuckling a little bit, don't watch this anime. It's 50% comedy, 30% characters, and then 20% story. I mean, I know I've been saying that there's a pretty good story, but it's 20%. It's more of a backdrop than anything else. But so those are the 2 selling points that I can think of right now that you would probably want to watch this anime for the sake of. There's one more that I wanted to talk about, but I've already kind of stated it back there somewhere in the video. I've already stated it back a little while ago. And that's talking about the characters and how they're very lively. And I've already done a very long iteration of that. But just to reiterate, the characters as a group were very dynamic. They were the jokes and the comedy that this anime was trying to pull off, that the animator, the studio was trying to pull off, worked perfectly because this group was as dynamic as they were. And this whole anime kind of mocks a whole bunch of tropes, like even the character types. Once again, I've already said what the character types were, but you've got the childhood friend, you've got the person that doesn't understand love, you've got the dense as fuck character, you have the lolly, and just so on and so forth. And then they just kind of make fun of these kind of tropes, because as you go through the anime, these characters don't actually stay as those tropes. So it kind of tells you, okay, yeah, they weren't supposed to be these tropes in the first place. Because, like Asahi, for example, Kuramine, most male main characters that you ever come across nowadays, that's in a cliche trope. They're weak, they're spineless, and whatnot. But by the end of the anime, he gets pretty fucking badass. I'm not even gonna bullshit you on that. He gets pretty fucking badass. And I'm not gonna lie about that. And I'll just say that right here. He was fucking badass. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Because holy shit was he badass towards the end. But yeah, he starts out as a weak-kneed male main character. And then he progressively gets better. And it tells you that they started out with these tropes, but then they proceeded to actually make them better characters. You know, as story progression would actually tell you to do. But those tropes, those anime that don't do that, those are the 3 selling points that I can bring up. The comedy, I've already described the comedy. The characters, I've already described the characters. And the story. I didn't really talk about the story. What do I mean by story? This is one of those stories where there's really nothing going on. I mean, there's a backdrop, kind of like an overarching problem that causes the story to drive forward. For example, Kuramine is trying to keep Shitogami's secret, and I'm not going to go into the details why he's doing that. I will say though that it's not because that Shitogami needs to keep it a secret, or else there's going to be a fucking mob just come over and shove silver spoons into her face and bring garlic at her. Like, you know, I will say that that's not the case. It's something totally different from that. And then that's the story. That's kind of the story. And for the majority of the anime, you don't really see the story actually develop. It's more of a, like I said, a backdrop. It's more of a backdrop for the entire things, for all the things that are occurring in the anime to occur. It's kind of like, it's an expository thing that just kind of disappears into like a puff of smoke and travels with the two main characters as they go through the next 8, 9, maybe 10 episodes. And then we get towards the end, where the story kind of comes back to front stage, and then we're like, oh yeah. I mean, it's not like you completely forgot that there was supposed to be a story in the first place, but you kind of realize, oh yeah, everything that has happened so far was leading up to this point. And once again, I don't want to say anything because the story doesn't develop until so far into the anime that it would be, I would consider it spoilers. I don't know about you, but I would consider it spoilers, what I could say about the story towards that end. But the long and short of it, just to keep it short, is that the story is a backdrop, kind of umbrellas what we see in the next, basically the entire anime until towards the end, where the story kind of, what the problem was keeping the secret, and then Kuramine like kind of fails to keep the secret, and then that's what ensues, like the consequences of that ensues. But then to not spoil anything, the thing that they were expecting didn't actually turn out to be the thing. And because the thing wasn't what they were expecting, it actually made the thing become much, much worse. If you've seen the anime, you'll probably get what I just said right there. And we're talking about the end of the anime. So just... yeah. yeah. I'm going to leave my ramblings there. Put that all on the side of the table. Bring the new dish up. My rating. I had a really hard time deciding what I wanted to say for this anime. One of the reasons why it took me so long to make this review, is because I didn't quite know what anime to review next after Monster Musume. And then, like I said in Monster Musume video, shit happened. Like I had come up in my life, and I had kind of had to put reviews on the back bench. But now I'm trying to come back. I'm getting a new microphone in the next 2 weeks or so, and hopefully it kind of comes flowing back, and I kind of get back into the habit of doing reviews. But so that was one reason why I was having a hard time trying to do this review particularly. But there was also that I didn't know what to say. I didn't really know what to say. Because after Monster Musume and after Overlord, I kind of realized that I keep saying the same things over and over again. So I kind of had to take a step back, think about what I was really saying, and then come back and then present these new ideas, this new way of presentation. Like, you noticed how I kind of been doing a little bit, roughly the same things that I've done in the past reviews, but I'm also trying to make it more descriptive of the anime so you can decide better if you want to watch the anime or not. So that was one reason why. And because of the second reason in particular, not particularly because of the first, but the second reason for me not doing this anime until now, because of that, I also had difficulty trying to figure out a rating. And even now, I'm still kind of having difficulties accepting the rating that I gave it, which is 7 out of 10. Because honestly, I feel like it should be an 8 out of 10. but then the story is kind of lacking. It really is kind of lacking. I'm not going to lie. Outside of all of the comical episodes, all the comical adventures, they presented a story in the very beginning. And we don't really get to see that story evolve and become a story until towards the end. So I feel like, I get it. This entire 13 episode run of Jitsu wa Watashi wa was more or less just kind of an adaptation of the first volume, I guess. I don't know. It might be the first 2 volumes. I don't know. But it's kind of the adaptation of those. And if you're doing just an adaptation of the first couple of volumes of the manga, then you're going to have only the quote-unquote the introductory phase of the manga. Because I feel like right when the anime ends is when the real story begins. Like, that's when the real story begins. That's what I felt. And because in the introductory phase, quote-unquote, we had the issue, we had the problem. And then we kind of kept going until we hit the actual issue. And then they overcome the issue. And now we're like in the next arc. I think that's what I'm trying to say. This anime series, this 13 episodes, was one arc, whereas the one arc was just introducing these characters, developing them, just kind of that kind of deal. And then I feel like the second arc of the manga, I'm going to actually start reading this manga probably in the next few weeks or so. And I might come back doing annotations, links, or whatever to provide what I think of the manga. Because I'm not going to do a review. I'm not going to do a review of manga just yet. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and read it and see what I think of the rest of the series. But so I wanted to give it an 8 out of 10. The story was lacking. I was considering 6 out of 10, or even 5 out of 10. Because once I realized that the story wasn't really actually there until the very end, I'm like, okay, I should actually get 5 out of 10 and 6 out of 10. Even though I really enjoyed it, I felt like it was still lacking. Now, I made a 7 out of 10 because the entertainment value of the series is still there. And if you actually enjoy this comedy, then you're going to have a hell of a time. You are going to have a hell of a time watching this series. And that's really all I can say about Jitsu wa Watashi wa, or actually, I am. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the review. And I hope you guys enjoyed my return, so to speak, to actual reviews. And if you guys liked this new kind of version of presentation where I actually go into each point that I bring up and trying to describe it better so you can get a better idea, please let me know if that was nice and if that was good. And if you do want to see more of it, please like and subscribe to the channel to let me know. It'll really help me out. It'll really help out the channel. And hopefully I get back into the groove of doing reviews. And hopefully I don't suck big monkey balls doing that. As always, somehow, somewhere, I'll see you guys soon.